I feel like every other generation under the boomers is essentially just like waiting for the boomers to die so that that wealth can then go to the next generations. Let's have the boomers. Anyway, but for this episode, we are discussing Michael Saylor, American HODL, and Odell's sort of take on the year.
And to be clear, this is Michael Saylor being interviewed by Danny on the grassy knoll for what Bitcoin did. He was very defensive.
So defensive.
Let us know in the comments on a degree of 0 to 10 how techno-feudalist society is.
Like what's 0, what's 5, what's 10? Yeah.
So 0 is you can't subscribe to Photoshop. They only will sell it to you.
They will only sell it to you, and
as
you
a single lump sum payment. And 10 is you have to rent. You have to pay. You have to rent your own genitals when you want to masturbate. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hell Money Podcast 2025 year in review.
That's what we're doing, I guess.
Isn't that what we're doing?
That's basically, well, we're kind of doing the Hell Money Podcast review of the What Bitcoin Did 2025.
That's right. We are doing the Hell Money Podcast review of the What Bitcoin Did 2025 Bitcoin review with Michael Saylor.
And I also watched the American HODL and Matt Odell 2025 review. He did two, like Danny Knowles did. Danny Knowles is just objectively speaking a better Bitcoin podcast than us.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love Danny. Danny's great.
Yeah, Danny's really
great.
nice. Their production
Shout out to
quality
Danny
is
for
better.
being a real Bitcoin podcast.
Their production quality is better. Their guests are better.
He's also
he prepares.
Yeah, he prepares. I don't prepare at all.
Sometimes
we prepare.
Sometimes, yeah.
He's more neutral. He's got that sort of neutral podcaster thing where we're not real journalists.
We're like the
Danny Knoll is a real journalist, is what I'm saying.
Danny Knowles is a real journalist. We're the type of podcasters that if Bitcoin podcasts were ever to be scrutinized the way that like the Theo Von, Joe Rogan, etc. types were scrutinized, they would find clips of us saying the most like stupid, deranged, incorrect takes, and they'd be like, "Look at how toxic these podcasters are." But
That's
if they tried to do
and
the
they'd
same
be right.
for Danny,
they'd be right. To
be
clear, they'd be right.
They'd be right. But Danny has nothing like that. So,
although, wait, maybe he had something to do with the Kennedy assassination.
Danny Knowles.
Yeah, wasn't there a grassy Knowles involved in the Kennedy assassination?
That's a great point. His grandfather Grassy.
Yes, grandfather Grassy shot Kennedy from the grassy knolls. That's right. Yeah,
he was the handler.
Yeah. So listen, it's not all wine and vinaigrette roses or
we don't have, as far as I know, we don't have any connections to the deep state. If they're manipulating us, they're
Ixnay on the Eep State.
So you do. Okay. Well, you'd be closer than I would.
That's right.
But if they're sort of shaping us, it's through like psychological warfare, like playing weird frequencies in my apartment.
Yeah, you're the frequency one. You're the Manchurian candidate frequency person.
They're EMF controlling me.
Well, no, so
direct.
I'm the sudden activation Manchurian candidate.
Yes.
You're the constantly being fucked with by the psychic frequencies.
Yeah. There's something going on.
You're much more sensitive to the frequenmore you're a frequency noticer.
I am a woman also, so it's.
Does that have to do? Are women good with the frequencies?
Just more tuned into the vibes. More sensitive.
Yeah. So we actually did an episode before this one, which
will never be released.
Didn't make it. We made a whole reaction video episode where we just reacted to other Bitcoin podcasters, but due to an unforeseen technical difficulties, which really were.
And that should alarm you guys because you're supposed to be the technical.
That's right.
There's a lot riding on your technical ability.
That's right. Yeah. The audio wasn't there, so we could drop a 3-hour video of us.
It would be us just talking, and you wouldn't see what
you would
we're
just see the
reacting
video. You maybe wouldn't even see the video. You would just
see us reacting.
You just see us reacting.
Yeah.
And I mean that is safe from a copyright perspective. We wouldn't get channel copyright struck. It's not the best content, and so we are just scraping the bottom of the barrel. This is basically a reaction episode. We're doing another reaction episode.
Well, this is better. So what we reacted to in the Lost episode was Robert Breedlove.
Yeah. One of the lost episodes.
Yeah,
there are other lost episodes. Yeah.
One of the lost episodes. We were reacting to Robert Breedlove, who we like. And who else did we react to? Like there was a Saylor clip. We didn't even say anything. We were like, whatever, who cares?
Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, we were kind of doing the
Bitcoin manosphere.
The last like hype cycle, the 2021 hype cycle. We were watching some of the like classics from that era. And
the bangers, the heavy hitters.
Yeah, honestly, my big takeaway from that was just like the golden era of Bitcoin podcasting is behind us. We were late to the party starting in 2022.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what is the golden era of Bitcoin podcasting. I mean, I think some people would say that it's Bitcoin Uncensored like June Seth,
sure.
and I mean, you just
well,
got
those
some
would be
real
the people that were like, oh, I was here before everyone else was here. This was real underground, like the real community.
They also got some lol cows on
that podcast.
Yeah, who I won't mention to be mean, but
yeah,
Vinay Gupta, you know who you are.
Yeah, so so maybe that's the golden era. If in that case, it's also behind us. I think probably the golden era in terms of like viewership was Michael Saylor on Robert Breedlove, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's kind of like what people look at, the Swan podcasting industrial complex.
Right. Oh yeah, I forgot about the Swan.
That's beyond like weird.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even watch any of
Bitcoin
them.
podcasts.
Yeah, I have a soft spot for Rabbit Hole Recap, Marty Bent and Matt Odell. That was the first Bitcoin podcast that I listened to.
Yeah, this was the first. Well, the episode that I watched with American HODL and Odell was the first like Matt Odell thing I've watched, and he's likable. I mean, like he's reasonable, while also being like crazy in the right way. That's like interesting. You know, he has like weird takes and stuff. But yeah, the golden era of Bitcoin podcasting is behind us.
That's right.
We are just sort of the dregs that are left.
Yeah, we're sort of like, Rome falls, and then there's peasants in the ruins of Rome kind of gesticulating at the old statues, wondering how anything like that could be made. That's where the Hell Money podcast is.
Basically, yeah. We're like, we can't film a reaction episode because we messed up the audio.
Can't film a reaction episode. Yeah, that's bad.
We can't figure out how to have a video playing.
The technology is gone. We don't know how to do it anymore.
We can't put a man on the moon anymore.
We can't put a man on the moon.
But we can watch Michael Saylor's 2025 review.
And then tell you about it.
Yeah. Well, everyone's talking about it on Twitter by the time. And the other problem with us is we post late.
That's right.
So like we're never on time. We're never on time. Like the cycle is like 5 days max. Yeah. And like we usually record like a week in advance. Yeah. So it's like by the time we post our episode, everything's already been said.
That's right. Yeah.
So I don't know why you guys are watching. If you are.
Thank you though. Thank you. We really appreciate it.
Oh, and if you are watching, you need to call in to the Hell Money Pod.
That's right. Line. And the number is 717-GM-HMP.
No.
Wait, sorry. The number, that's not the number.
717.
The real number is 717-69 GMHMP.
It'll be flashing here.
Yeah, and for those
717-69 GMHMP.
That's right. And for those there is actually possibly a problem. Like, do phone dialers, do smartphone dialers even have the letters on them anymore?
Yeah, they do.
They do?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah. So you might be confused how a number could contain letters.
They might be confused, but if you look, you'll see.
Yeah, they're just generally in a state of confusion at all times.
All confused. They're all confused. But please call in and ask any question.
Anything. Say anything.
Say anything.
We will. Or monologue. We'll play your monologue.
Yeah, if you have just something you want people
to hear.
You want
to shill something?
Yeah, call
just shill it. Who cares?
We'll put a voice modulator on it to protect your anonymity.
We will not put a voice modulator, or we will.
No, we will whenever we do the episode. Like not.
We will.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we need to remember this if we're saying this.
I've said it multiple times.
Okay, we will put a voice modulator on it. Aaron will. I'm not committing to anything.
We will do that. We will obfuscate your identity for the listeners.
Unless
we will hear you.
Unless you say your name or something. Like, don't do that.
Well,
if you want to be anonymous.
I mean, come on. Like, this is baby stuff. But please
they're confused as established.
Please call and ask us for advice because the Valentine's Day is coming up.
That's
right.
We're
going to do the Hell Money Pod love line again, and we need you to call in.
Desperate. Yeah,
And if you don't have a love life, that's fine too. You can still ask. We might be able to help.
Yeah, we need to farm you for content. Is basically what we're saying. We need to milk the content out of the little teats or big teats. I don't know.
We don't know
of the listeners. There might be some mommy milkers out there.
Actually, it was last year when we did the love line episode. There were quite a few female callers.
That's right. Yep.
So. They're out there.
Yeah, they're out there. Yeah.
They're overrepresented because I think based on our analytics, our audience is like 2% female.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's pretty good.
But our callers were much more than 2%.
That's right. Yeah.
At least
one in 50 women. We're doing okay.
Yeah, for a Bitcoin podcast.
Yeah,
not bad. So anyway, but for this episode, we are discussing Michael Saylor, American HODL, and Odell's sort of take on the year.
Right.
They have very different takes.
And to be clear, this is Michael Saylor being interviewed by Danny on the Grassy Knoll for What Bitcoin Did, and HODL and Odell on What Bitcoin Did?
Yeah.
Okay, so 2 separate episodes.
Yep.
The big takeaway from the Saylor thing is that he was very defensive.
So defensive.
Very defensive.
It's kind of awesome to watch. It's annoying, but I liked watching it.
Yeah, it's rough. And one of the things, 2 things that are interesting about it. One is that if you're like a public markets guy, you're like a guy who says things that the investors listen to, and you want the investors to like buy your bags, you don't get defensive. You make soft cooing noises until the investors latch onto the titty of your stock and you continue to make soft coin
The
noises.
colicky investors.
The colicky investors, latch onto the stock titty and start sucking the whatever, or I don't know how it works, where this metaphor goes, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
And Michael Saylor is definitely in that role, but he is not that guy.
But
he's just like getting defensive. Like it's like, somebody's like, well, where is the money, the gold in Fort Knox? And you're like, how dare you ask me that?
He's like, that's actually
question.
an offensive question. That's what I
question.
loved hearing him say, is that question actually offends me? Like to Danny Knowles, who is so polite,
so polite,
soft-spoken.
Yeah, I felt bad for Danny. Danny's just sitting there like, what's going on?
Yeah, Saylor. I definitely recommend at least watching clips if you don't want to watch the whole episode. I watched it on 1.5 speed, which went pretty fast. But
mercifully.
But like the vibe I get from Saylor is he is sort of embarrassed by the Bitcoin community and he's kind of scolding the Bitcoin community. He's not really talking to investors in that episode. He's talking to plebs.
Yeah.
And I sympathize with a lot of his complaints.
Yeah.
But I'm not at the head of a Bitcoin treasury company.
No.
Right? Like it's like his main complaints were basically like, your guys' attention span is 5 days. You are like acting like children. You're not investors. You're fucking speculators. Yep. If you're like, he kept making the point, Bitcoin all-time high was 95 days ago, not even 100 days ago. And you guys are bitching. You're bitching and complaining and you forget and you're acting so sorry for yourself. Like, which I agree with.
Yeah. I mean, a little bit, I think it is though, it's Bitcoin is not the NASDAQ, People
what do you mean by that?
What I mean is that people don't buy Bitcoin to like, oh, it's doing okay. People buy Bitcoin so that it like rips your tits off, like 200% gains, like let's fucking go.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I mean, it is a little disappointing that, we only topped out like 100 days ago.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing that doesn't make sense if you're a treasury company person, if you're the institutions are coming and they're buying our Bitcoin, like if you're someone who really was bullish on that narrative in 2025, which was the main narrative of the mainstream Bitcoin podcast influencer group, that you would think if all of this money is flooding into Bitcoin, all of this regulation is happening such that it's like easy for all of this liquidity to be unlocked, then why didn't we see 200K Bitcoin? Right. Like, so I think that's essentially the question that Danny was trying to ask Michael Saylor, that Michael Saylor was like, that's actually an offensive question.
Right. That's actually really offensive.
But what I thought was interesting about Saylor's strategy that I kind of couldn't figure out is he was sort of refusing to treat other Bitcoin treasury companies as competition.
Yeah, this was very confusing because Danny Knoll basically, I forget what Saylor did. I think it was issuing converts.
Yeah.
And I say that with some sort of authority, like I know what a convert is, what it converts from, or what it converts into. I believe it's a note. What it says on the note, I don't know.
We don't know.
But, Danny was like, well, you issued these converts, which was really smart. And so how are other Bitcoin treasury companies going to compete with MicroStrategy?
Yeah.
And Saylor was like,
he's like, it's offensive you would even say that we're competing.
Yeah, like he was like, well, just because one company buys Bitcoin doesn't mean that other companies can't buy Bitcoin. And it's like,
wouldn't you want every company to buy Bitcoin?
Yeah, we're not talking.
Do you think that makes a bad company better if you buy Bitcoin?
We're not shockingly accurate. We're not talking about companies just putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet. We're talking about Bitcoin treasury companies which exist as vehicles for the public to acquire stake in Bitcoin by buying these stocks as proxies.
Yeah.
And as such, they directly compete with each other and they directly compete with things like the ETF. And so it sounded like Danny Knowles was asking a question about, how will other Bitcoin treasury companies compete with strategy given Michael Saylor's, good financial engineering or whatever with
his
these
masterful financial instrumentation.
That's right. Yeah. And Michael Saylor took the question as like, what do you mean other companies shouldn't buy Bitcoin or something? It was very confusing.
It seemed like it was actually quite a nice setup for him to shill strategy, which is like, we've talked about this before where like when we did our Bitcoin treasury episode a couple months ago now, we talked about how you can't replicate what MicroStrategy did, right? Like you're never going to be Michael Saylor unless you want to go on every Bitcoin podcast, like every single day of your life and repeat the same talking points over and over again. And you want to have the same stock market cockroach level knowledge that Michael Saylor has in terms of his masterful financial instrumentation, like you as Metaplanet or as whatever, I can't even think of what the other, like I don't know what the other Bitcoin treasury company is.
Metaplanet.
There's one called Treasury.
Micro penis strategy.
Right.
That was a good one.
Micro penis strategy.
Macro penis strategy.
Right.
Much bigger.
Well, that could, you could beat Michael Saylor.
That's right. Yeah.
Like you can't beat what Saylor did. And so as an investor, your answer should always be to buy MicroStrategy.
Sure.
Like
yeah.
not to buy anything else. And so to me, like that's an obvious tee up. Like
Sure.
what
Yeah,
Daniels was
yeah.
asking was an obvious thing for him to be like, yeah, they're going to imitate me, but we're always going to be first. You should always buy this, whatever. But instead he took it as this like it was weird. He sort of like identified with the company more, like the idea of a company.
Sure. Yeah.
Like corporations are people. I'm like one of the people.
Is
like
he trans, but he identifies as a company?
He identifies as a MicroStrategy.
Michael Saylor, trans icon.
Yeah. He basically was like, well, I mean, the argument he made, which is like, it's not a bad argument. It just is weird coming from him, which was like, well, imagine that you're the CEO of some failing company and you're trying to save your company. Wouldn't you just buy Bitcoin? Isn't that a smart decision for you to make? Like, why would you then like go buy do stock buybacks? Because then you're just like further in the hole. Like he was basically saying, regardless of these companies' business models, whether they're good companies or not, don't you think it's a smart, rational decision for them to buy Bitcoin?
Yeah, I mean,
which like fine.
But the answer is kind of no, because
well, compared to stock buybacks.
Let me think about this. No, not necessarily. I mean, the reason that people own stock is because they want exposure to the company. They want exposure to what the company is doing.
Well, not in this case.
In the case of the failing company, like in the case of any company, you want exposure to what the company is doing. So if a company is failing and it starts buying Bitcoin, eventually, I mean, the company fails and it owns Bitcoin, and then the shareholders make the company sell the Bitcoin, and then they get the Bitcoin and the company ceases to exist. It's like there's no like end game there. It's like if you're not talking about it like a balanced if you're not talking about it as like a balance sheet management strategy, which is a little different, but if you're just like failing companies should buy Bitcoin, I think the answer is no, because investors don't want exposure to Bitcoin via that stock. They would prefer to have exposure to Bitcoin. They would, if they want exposure to Bitcoin, they can get it through other more efficient vehicles than owning like the New York Times, the failing New York Times that also owns Bitcoin for some reason now.
Is that true?
No, I'm saying if they
like what?
No, if they were failing and then they bought Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
what are Michael Saylor's trans business pronouns?
MS.
Stock self, MS self, company self, micro self.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, okay. Anyways, glad we got that out of the way.
No, I mean he kind of was like, he was doing this weird sort of like little guy thing where he was like, imagine you know how hard it is to run a company. Like, imagine, I'd like to see you try running a company. Like it was like this kind of.
Is he a Muppet? He sounds a little.
Yeah, he
Muppet-like.
has a little bit of a Muppet quality.
Yeah, he's got Muppet energy.
But like, it's just interesting because it's like you would think that he would
say, yeah, fuck all the other fucking Bitcoin treasury companies.
Why are you buying anything but MicroStrategy? Like that's what I would think. So it's just
he does kind of position himself as like MicroStrategy is Bitcoin in a way. Yeah. And that like, oh, but we're all just one big happy Bitcoin family. Like, what are you talking about? That's not true. You're trying to crush the competition. Like, why aren't you trying to crush the competition?
Yeah, I mean, I think it seems to me
maybe
like
some weird like regulatory issue that we don't understand. That he's
that was one of the points that he made. I think I had like the specific quote written down. Was basically like he was sort of talking about like looking back at the year, and he listed all of these like various regulatory wins, like oh, now you can buy Bitcoin this way, or now the ETF is approved, or like whatever, and we had an all-time high. And he was basically making the argument of in his situation, if he had to choose between an all-time high or any one of those regulatory wins, what would he choose? And he said, I would choose any one of those regulatory wins over an all-time high in 2025 because that is a better long-term prospect than just like the immediate gratification of number being high right now. And so I think from that perspective, it makes sense in the sense that like if he's playing this game where in order for what he's doing to work, he has to have these regulatory wins,
Mhm.
then he does want as many companies as possible, as much of the stock market in every country as possible to be on his side,
Mhm.
right? So I kind of understand it if it's like you view Michael Saylor as it's like him and the stock market versus the regulators, where he wants to win against the regulators. And so he is saying we are this happy family, we are this big team, there's room for everyone. Whereas like instead of viewing it from the perspective of an investor that's choosing which stock to buy.
Maybe that is it. That if Bitcoin treasury companies start imploding, he's worried that there'll be regulatory action against Bitcoin treasury companies in general, which will make MicroStrategy fail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way it reads to me, is he wants more people on the boat with him.
Yeah.
And
he is a sailor.
He is a sailor.
Nominative determinism.
Not a sailor. Like selling the Bitcoin, like SALE.
He's not a sailor. He's a
Not
sailor.
Yet.
Not yet.
Not
a
yet.
forced sailor. He's going to get shanghaied and be a forced sailor.
Yeah. I mean, there's the AI image that he posted of him on like a life raft leaving the Titanic, where like the Titanic was like orange, and it's like, well, is Bitcoin the Titanic?
Right. Yeah. He's, it's really an impressionistic meme.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not the literal contours of the meme itself. It's
No.
the penumbra of the meme.
But I mean, I think it's like, it seems like he's sort of
the contours of the penumbra of the meme.
Like, indeed. It seems like I think he has multiple pressures on him, and he's sort of getting his wires crossed. Like there's one pressure that's coming at him from like the SEC, the regulators, that maybe like want one thing, right? There's another pressure coming from the institutional investors that are like, hey, you told me this Bitcoin thing was going to work out, and now it's not like going up as much. Like, what's that about? And then another pressure is like the Maxis that are like in his mentions being like, bro, you're shitcoining. Bro, this is not, there's no self-custody. Shouldn't we be encouraging people to self-custody their own Bitcoin and HODL and da-da-da? Like he has all of these different forces that are kind of complaining at him, and he's sort of like cross-pollinating their complaints. You know what I mean? Like,
cross-pollinating.
He is like, but it feels like it seems like what he's mad at in that interview is the Bitcoin Maxis. He's like, you guys act like children. You criticize the people that are 99% the same as you more than the people that are not the same as you at all. Like he makes this point of like, there's however many companies, I can't remember. He was like, there's 4 million companies in the world or some shit like that. I don't think it's that many. Maybe there's 4,000. How many companies do you think there are in the world? 400,000? I know it was 4 something. Like,
Could
but
be
what
a lot.
order
I
of
mean,
magnitude?
the thing is that I would guess more than 400,000.
4 million companies?
Yeah,
That's
because
too many companies.
Because I think people create companies just.
What
for
about
like
in the stock market? How many stock market companies do you think there are?
U.S. stock market?
Sure.
Regulated U.S. stock market, not like penny stocks?
No, include penny stocks.
Couple 100,000 maybe.
Okay, so maybe 400,000. I just
Maybe
remember it was
more.
4 something.
I don't know.
I think it's 400,000 maybe.
People create companies at the drop of a hat. Companies have companies.
Right, but on the stock market? Anyway, so his point was like, there's 400,000 companies in the world and 200 of them own Bitcoin. Why are you criticizing the 200 that are buying Bitcoin versus the 400,000 that are not buying Bitcoin?
Because it's a Bitcoin podcast.
Right, that's where
it's not like a podcast about the world where you just like, it's like that argument is like, you can only criticize things in order of how horrible they are. And you can't criticize the second most horrible thing.
It's the same
you must
strategy.
You have to criticize like AIDS or cancer or whatever the most horrible thing is.
It's an effective altruist approach.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're like, wow, I really don't like, getting hit by a bus, then it's like, well, why aren't you complaining about cancer? Like clearly cancer is worse than buses. Are you a cancer apologist?
It's the same thing that the like whenever people started complaining about Palestine, and then they're like, well, why don't you care about what's happening in the Congo?
That's right.
Right. It's like the same.
Good
It's the
point.
same deflection strategy.
Why don't we care about what's happening in the Congo?
I don't care about anything that's happening outside of my own sphere of reference.
Maybe good things are happening in the Congo.
We don't know. We should go.
We should go to the Congo.
We should do some.
We've heard
Gonzo
that things are
journalism.
happening in the Congo. If you know what's happening in the Congo, please like, subscribe, and comment.
Let us know.
What
they
is going
never
in the
let
Congo.
us know.
They never
I
let
have
us
to
know.
say, actually, I am mad at the viewers.
They keep us out of the Congo.
We ask so many questions on this podcast, like what's going on in Venezuela? what's like the history of blah blah blah, and like no one ever answers.
I don't read the comments.
They're just saying like, oh, like this girl says like too much, or
Yeah, but I think they understand that when we ask a question, it's sort of a rhetorical,
I'm not
impressionistic.
I'm not rhetorically asking. If you have an answer, let me know.
Okay, so what is going on?
What's going on in the Congo?
Yeah, the Congo. Kinshasa, isn't that the capital of the Congo?
I don't know.
Is the Congo one of those joints in Africa where they've got like two of them, like Sudan and South Sudan?
It's the Democratic Republic of Congo.
And the other Congo.
Is that true? I don't
Is there
think
another? I think there's another Congo. Yeah, I
Let
think
us
it's
know.
like one of those.
like literally let us know. We don't know.
Situations.
Anyway, he's
Yeah.
he's sort of he's deflecting off of him. He's saying like, well, why are you criticizing us,
Right.
me and my competitors that
He's
I'm weirdly
saying,
like
what
grouping us
about
all
what's
together.
happening in the Congo?
What about so why don't you guys care about what's happening in the Congo?
It's whataboutism.
But I also do kind of agree in the sense that like if I think about it from our perspective as like shitcoiners, like that the Bitcoiners are so aggressive towards anything that even smells like shitcoinery more than they are about like I guess the point I would make is like crypto people are more likely to be persuaded to your message than someone who's a Luddite, right? And so by doing this thing where you're like, well, I'm a toxic maxi, and that is diametrically opposed to an ETH crypto bro. It's like, well, actually, from 99.999% of the world, yeah, they don't even know you guys exist.
You're an
maybe
incel in your basement. You haven't touched a woman in a long time,
and that's why you need to call 717-69-GMHMP, and we'll figure it out.
GMHMP. That's right.
Yeah, like he said at one of the quotes, he said, the Bitcoin community would rather eat their young than criticize the 99% of the world who doesn't even know they exist, which is like kind of tea. That is kind of tea.
Listen, it's a Bitcoin podcast. Bitcoiners are going to talk about Bitcoin. You're like, why don't Bitcoiners talk about...
I think it's a losing battle to try to like complain about this. But it's like, it is true that whatever, VC or investor or failing company that wants to buy Bitcoin, like if your answer is to be like, well, you're not self-custodying it and with a multi-sig the way that I like, it's like, what the fuck is the point?
Yeah, what is the point?
It's just like, it's just,
let us know in the comments.
It's a weird argument coming from Saylor, and that's why I say it feels like he's sort of cross-pollinating, where it's like he should, from his perspective, at least from what I view, and maybe his strategy is just like 4D chess beyond what I can understand, he should be positioning it as like, for the people that are watching that podcast, which are probably not regulators from the SEC, they're probably people that own MicroStrategy and other Bitcoin treasury companies because they're trying to chase the yield on Bitcoin. He should be saying, well, why are you buying those other companies? You should buy my company.
Right.
But instead, he's doing this weird thing where he's like mad at you for even buying any of the companies at all. Like he also kept doing that where he'd deflect and be like, well, who's the idiot that bought the stock that like was of the failing company? Like, that's you. You're going to blame me for that? You're going to blame the company for that? They're just a humble company trying to make things work in a rough world out there. And like, you're the one who's a speculator buying the stock, asking why it's not going up. Isn't that your problem? Like, it was a really like weird, like that's like an argument like I would like as an outsider I could make.
Yeah.
But like as like the figurehead of the Bitcoin treasury company movement feels like a weird argument to make.
Certainly does.
But it might be that he's viewing it more as like a battle of them versus the regulators. Like he wants them all to go down with him. He doesn't want them to jump ship. He doesn't want them to sell their Bitcoin and move back into their like love hotel business or whatever they were in before. He wants them to acquire more Bitcoin, get more entrenched in like a Bitcoin tradfi world such that the regulators can't ignore it. It's too big to fail, whatever, like what have you.
Yeah, I mean, I think it does. I think it probably is that he views him and the Bitcoin treasury companies as sort of all on the same side.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want anything bad to happen to any of them.
That's kind of cute when you put it that way, though.
That's right. Well, I mean, he's business sexual, and so he, identifies with the other business. There's kin. Actually, he's not really trans. He's what's it called? It's like you're called like a kin. He's like an other kin, except his kin type is a business.
Isn't that just trans, but just like more expanded?
I don't really think would other kin describe themselves as trans.
Transhumanist.
That's right. Yeah. They're not really transhumanist.
Like furries are a little furries are transhumanist, I would say.
No, transhumanist.
Yeah, they are.
No, transhumanist is a little bit. It's orthogonal to being a furry. There's like overlap, but transhumanist is when you're like, I want the ability to like modify my body.
I want the ability to transplant a foxtail onto my butt, and I want it to move along with my emotions.
I would say many furries are transhumanists, but they're not like identical. It's not like identical
Right.
Venn
Okay.
diagrams.
Well, thank God we got to the bottom of that.
Yeah. We're getting somewhere.
Yeah. I don't know. I will say the episode is very funny.
It's not good.
It's not good. It's interesting to watch Saylor. Like Saylor's basically only had up moments since he started his journey as a Bitcoin podcast talking head.
Mhm.
Like he got into Bitcoin in 2020 and he basically has just been, I mean, it's not like it's been an up only market, but he's kind of been in this position of like he's the savior. He's the figurehead of like the institutional investors that are coming to Bitcoin. Like the narrative that he has been farming since the beginning of his time in Bitcoin
Mhm.
is now like coming to harvest, and it wasn't what maybe people thought it would be based on the way that he's sold it to them.
Mhm.
And so it's interesting to see him, like, I think he's been in an adversarial position before, but more with like, oh, he's going on Fox News to talk to boomers that are saying, what is Bitcoin? Is it even real? I mean, you can't hold it in your hands. Why? You know, like,
Mhm.
like that's a much easier sort of adversarial position for him to take. But now he's being adversarial against like his fans, right?
Yeah.
Like his buyers, his the people who are supporting him, the people that believe in his vision. He's now sort of turned on them.
Mhm.
And I think this like happens. I feel like this is part of like what happens when a cult of personality starts to break down.
Mhm.
You know, I mentioned earlier when we were talking, I think on the subspace about like Taylor Swift did this to her fans too, where she was like, you guys are embarrassing. And like, no one wants to date me because you guys are so embarrassing. And like Doja Cat turned on her fan. Like it's a common thing where it's like your fans start to embarrass you. So even though they're your best supporters who love you the most, like
Not us.
you turn on them.
We will never turn on you.
We're not going to turn on Michael Saylor?
No, our fans.
Oh.
Never.
I mean, what would we even get mad at them for?
That's what I'm saying. We love them. They're
Yeah.
great.
I think it's like I feel like you got to accept the good and the bad with attention.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you can't really, like Saylor might be annoyed at the Maxis for being stupid. Me too. But it's like you can't like turn around and like scold them when you've been like building them up in this certain way for the last couple years.
Right.
Like it's like you were the one who set the expectations that like Bitcoin treasury companies are going to the moon, trillions of dollars are being unlocked in investment. And then it's like, we didn't even really hit an all-time high based on inflation scale.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and add insult to injury, gold is at an all-time high. Silver is at an all-time high. Like what's going on there?
Oh, the time will come for us.
I mean, that kind of gets into, actually that gold point gets into the American HODL and Odell
That's right.
video, because that one was more, I liked that Danny did those two sort of back to back, because Saylor is representing this position of, you know, he's sort of the figurehead of the institutional investors that are coming to Bitcoin, and Saylor's basically presenting himself as like the first of what will be many, you know? And so he has this like defensive position where he's like, you know, you need a 10-year time horizon, you need decades long time horizon. Like if you're a real investor, that's what this takes. It's not a 100-day thing. It's not a 5-day turnaround. Like this is, you got to be in it for the long haul. Like he's still trying to kind of spin the story. Whereas HODL and Odell come across more as like, oh, we are Bitcoiners that got duped. Like that's more their attitude, is like, we sipped the Kool-Aid.
About the Bitcoin treasury companies?
Yeah.
Did they?
That's kind of what they say, basically. Is like, well, they say they as like being a Bitcoin podcaster.
I don't think that
influencers.
HODL and Odell would have bought Bitcoin treasury companies. They're Bitcoiners. They just have Bitcoin.
Bro, Bitcoiners were all up in, because everyone wants more.
Yeah, but HODL and Odell are just kind of hardcore.
I'm pretty sure both of them.
Really?
At least American HODL said he owns MicroStrategy.
Damn, that's so weird.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, again, correct us in the comments. You won't.
You won't.
We can say anything.
We can say anything.
We can say anything.
Yeah, there's 3 Sudans.
I mean,
Congos. Three Congos.
There's 3 Sudans.
7 Sudans. Yep, they made a new one last week. It's the best Sudan yet, they're saying.
I mean,
people are saying.
The thing, like they sort of are looking back on it like, wow, we were way too bullish. We really thought that like this institutional money was going to come in and buy our bags. Like what happened? Like we got duped. That was sort of their position. And the thing that they were talking about a lot was like the insult to injury in all of this is that gold and silver are high right now. Like it's not that people are not trying to escape inflation. They are, but they're not going to Bitcoin to do that.
Yep.
And my kind of take on that is like, tradfi is boomer. Like you're not going to get the boomers to buy Bitcoin, not substantially. Right now, the way I see it is like most of the wealth, and I actually would be curious what the percentage is of this, but like most of the wealth is held by boomers, at least in the US. And I feel like every other generation under the boomers is essentially just like waiting for the boomers to die so that that wealth can then go to the next generations. And all of tradfi, all of the financial planning on like a government level, all of it is organized around making sure that the boomers die without ever having to face financial collapse, you know? And so I think like, yeah, if inflation is something that the boomers are having to start to think about, they're going to go to gold. They're not going to go to Bitcoin. Like they're not technically savvy enough. They're not going to be converted.
Sure. Yeah. And I also think that if you're talking about a inflation hedge that you just want it to sit in an account somewhere, Bitcoin doesn't really have any advantages over like a gold ETF. I mean, I guess you can make some argument about like, well, you know, the rate of digging gold out of the ground actually responds to the price. But in general, you know, I don't think that that's what Bitcoin's value proposition is. It's that it can move around easily. It's that it can be traded. Bitcoin is kind of a money technology. And when that becomes useful is when the actual, not, oh, I need an inflation hedge, but, oh, the money is breaking down. I need to move value around.
Sure.
That's where Bitcoin really shines.
Yeah.
And so being a boomer, yeah, like, of course they're going to buy fucking gold. They've heard of gold. They know what it is.
They can hold it in their hand.
Yeah.
They're like,
they can't. They're buying paper gold, but they could.
They could imagine it. They can picture the color. They can picture the texture. Bitcoin is like it's like a non-object to
That's
them.
right.
And it's just like, you know, they, as you said, like earlier in the episode, like why are people in Bitcoin? Well, it's for the volatility. The boomers are not in any investment for the volatility. They're in it for the stability. So you basically have these like old institutional investors that want their 8% return every year guaranteed so that they can retire on the timeline that they set out for themselves 40 years ago. They don't want something that has the 200% upside and the like 400% like potential downside.
200% upside, 400% downside.
Yeah, like it's like, you know, they don't want the volatility, and like they're never going, that generation is never going to adopt Bitcoin. Like I really don't think they will. And so I feel like really, and that's not really the play that like the long-termism that people talk about in Bitcoin. It's like, yeah, you have to live to see the long-term time horizon play out. If you're 80, like you're not going to be betting on something that's decades from now. You want something that like you can pull out of consistently every month. So it's like, I think when you see,
I want something that I can pull out of consistently every month.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
Okay. Took me a second.
Yeah.
You saw the gears turning.
Yeah. I saw like the like eyes light up.
Yeah,
like,
right. Yeah.
But it's just, you know, and actually that made me think too, like Bitcoin is very Gen X. Like cypherpunks are very Gen X.
Gen X?
Yeah.
Gen X is the generation that's older than my generation.
Well, you're technically like a young Gen X based on your Pluto placement.
Astrologically.
Astrologically. You're a young Gen X.
Damn, that's a bummer. Gen X is like really crusty at this point. Like,
but the reason why I say Bitcoin is Gen X is because like if you think about Bitcoin as emerging from the cypherpunk movement,
that was a Gen
X. That's not
movement.
a millennial thing. No, cypherpunks were Gen X. Like Burning Man, cypherpunk, kind of like that movement is very Gen X.
Yeah.
There was actually one time where I was asking ChatGPT what the dominant communities and aesthetics and subcultures came, like which ones came from Gen X. Because I was like, the burners are a very, you know what a burner is. You know what I mean? Like you can picture a person who's like a Burning Man person. You can picture what they're into, what they dress like, whatever.
You can smell
them. That's a very Gen X group. There are, of course, millennials and younger that are into Burning Man and do that, but like that aesthetic was kind of like defined by Gen X.
Right.
And I was trying to ask ChatGPT like what other aesthetics like that exist, and it couldn't come up with a single answer.
Oh, that's defined? What? I don't...
Like the burners are a Gen X group. Like think about the millennials have like matcha, you know, the millennials, and like Gen Z has like Labubus. Like there's like different like little like
ABGs.
That's Gen X?
No, aren't they millennial?
Like Asian baby girl?
Wait, are you saying specifically some movement, some aesthetic which is that is defined by being Gen X?
I'm saying
or some
a movement or style or whatever that came out of that generation, like leading it.
Out of specifically the Gen X generation.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I mean,
what cultural, like Star Wars fans?
No, like slackers, like alternative rock, like Nirvana.
Yeah.
Flannel.
Like grunge punk.
Grunge, yeah, grunge.
They're not really around anymore. Like that's not really so much of a like group. Like the burners are still going strong.
Sure. Yeah.
You
Yeah. I mean,
know?
the thing about the grunge is it wasn't so much, it was very dependent. It was like the music was a big part of it. And so the music isn't incredibly popular anymore. The music isn't current anymore.
Yeah. But think about like boomer country clubs,
Mhm.
right? Like boomers do have their things that are still like Florida, the state of Florida.
Mhm.
Like there's a lot of things that like the boomers culturally have that is still like an active, vibrant community for them.
Yeah.
Gen X doesn't really have stuff like that. Anyway, that's like a tangent. But like my point was like Bitcoin is a very Gen X cypherpunk burner type movement. You're not going to see, do you see boomers becoming burners? Do you see boomers adopting like the cultural things that Gen X brought about? No, the boomers are set in their boomer mentality. The boomers are doing their boomer shit.
You really do hate the boomers.
I know. I'm getting like really racist against the boomers.
Yeah. Boomer racist. Yeah.
It's getting kind of bad.
Ageist, I guess.
I'm getting ageist. I did actually just make a boomer friend who I really like.
For what it's worth, I think it's not actually that the boomers are uniquely bad. It's that government is set up so that the old can pillage the riches of the young.
Sure.
And the boomers just happen to be the old people at the moment who are the beneficiaries of that. And that we, when we grow old, we will be the beneficiaries. And the gamma generation or whatever we're up to at that point will be complaining about how we are, oh, the fucking millennials, they, you know, all this shit, blah, 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 blah.
Inflation benefits asset holders.
That's right.
And the boomers are the asset holders.
Mhm.
Regardless of them being specifically that generation or Gen X being the next, whatever, that's the case right now. Like basically, it feels like to me, at least in the US, the entire economy is just like waiting to see how much of the boomer wealth flows down to their inheritors after they die.
Mhm.
That's where I think you actually see Bitcoin adoption over gold. From my perspective, that's where I started here. Is like the boomers are not going to buy Bitcoin over gold. If they're trying to escape
The
inflation,
millennials are going to buy gold.
Yeah.
Going to buy Bitcoin. Is
yes,
what you're
that's
saying.
the best hope.
Yep.
That we have basically for Bitcoin overtaking gold as this like hedge inflation thing.
Well, yeah,
It's not going to be boomers.
I think that's part of it. I also do think that it's like when the money breaks down and when you need not just an inflation hedge, but something you can move around. Like,
yeah, I guess that's a level of like political instability.
But also just like, listen, like you want to make some international payments, you want to do some settlement between countries. Bitcoin is already almost objectively better than a lot of those systems for large transfers.
I guess, yeah, the other thing besides millennials sort of like inheriting assets and wealth and then reallocating some of that into Bitcoin, the other thing is Asia.
Mm-hmm.
Like Asia growing in more global wealth. Asia is obviously much more like digitally native than Americans are, than like the old people are. And so Asia is more, and also they have more of a reason to try to hold their wealth in neutral, like global currencies rather than keeping it all under the control of the CCP or whatever. Right. So like, to me, it's like, it's not surprising that if you were counting on this tradfi investment class to buy your bags and you have currency inflation and then you see them go to gold, it's like, duh, this is what they know.
Yeah.
You know, like they were never going to buy Bitcoin. The people that were going to buy Bitcoin within that institutional class are like the like Patrick Bateman ass like stock traders that are like, I learned about crypto in my degree program at Ohio State, and
the skin mask people.
yeah, exactly. Like it's like those guys maybe are slowly getting more control over TradFi, but TradFi is still boomer. I don't know. Like I just don't see that. I don't see like the boomers aren't coming to save us. They're gonna die with everything hoarded.
I'm sure of. The boomers are definitely not coming to save us. Definitely not.
So yeah, it's like a bummer, obviously, to see gold ATH while we're at like whatever. Although we're back up to 97 today.
97.7, you know?
But to me, it's not really surprising. I think if you're looking for that there's two factors, I guess. One is that there is political uncertainty and concerns about inflation, and people are looking for things to put their money in. And they would look at gold, silver, or Bitcoin. That's one factor. Once you've crossed that threshold, which it seems like we're crossing based off of a gold all-time high, a silver all-time high, then the question is, are you Gen X or younger, or are you boomer? And that's going to be, do you choose metals or Bitcoin?
Yep.
Basically. So I think like we got past the first question, and then at the second question, it's like, oh, wait, the people younger than boomers don't even own assets. Because another point that they made in that HODL Odell review was that, and I've seen this a couple times on Twitter as well, is that if you think about 2024 into 2025 as being a bull run. You know, like that was the 4-year cycle playing out. We're already done. The difference between that and the previous cycle is that retail never came in. You never had like retail investors come in and buy something for the first time, whether that was Bitcoin or crypto or whatever. That didn't happen. The only people that were involved were institutions. And I think, I don't know, that's also something where it's like, I feel like that's just an indicator that the younger generations don't have money to even invest or save. You know what I mean? like there is no retail. They're gambling. Like they're gambling.
Yeah, it's not retail anymore. It's Vegas.
Yeah. Like they're not, I think like
they're on Kalshi.
They're on Kalshi betting on Timothée Chalamet and Kylie Jenner getting engaged.
They're not investing in the markets. They're betting on what's going to happen in the markets.
Well, it makes sense that they would, because if there used to be a narrative, right, that if you saved a certain percentage of your income every single year, you could put those numbers into like one of those calculators online and it would tell you when you can retire, right? That for my generation, like, is not a thing. I'm not saying that that's not possible for some people, but the vibe, the sort of like predominant psychological disposition is not, if I am smart and manage my money well and budget and live within my means, I will then be able to buy a house, have kids, retire, live comfortably until I die. There's many factors that have contributed to like breaking down that narrative. In any case, that narrative doesn't exist. And so if you don't have that narrative, then if you have $1,000 every month to save, you're probably going to try to buy a lottery ticket. Like the lottery ticket being betting on Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's engagement on Travis Kelce.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's Travis. Yeah, whatever. But like, I feel like it's just like, yeah, you don't have the same effect of like, like people don't believe, even if Bitcoin is having these crazy returns by any like normie investing standard, the normie investing standard has completely broken down for the younger generations regardless. So like they don't want Bitcoin's, 20 to 30% annual gain every single year. They want their like lottery ticket that gives them generational wealth and like a ticket out of like the permanent underclass of techno-feudalism. So I don't like, it's like, to me, it's like, of course retail never entered because I think like retail's gone. Like, I don't know if retail's ever coming. Sorry to say.
Yeah, it's not looking good.
It's not looking good. There's got to be something else.
You've been doing a little bit of betting on the prediction markets, haven't you?
I have been.
Yeah, which markets have you been participating in?
So the only bet that I've really made so far is I bet $100 that Timothée Chalamet and Kylie Jenner would be engaged in 2026. Felt like a safe bet. We're only in January.
Yeah. And you're like a whale in this market.
I'm a whale in the market. I would have bet more, but I moved the market so significantly with that $100 of liquidity that I was like, okay, I guess I'll just chill on this. But I feel like I have good reason. I don't have insider knowledge, but I do notice things.
Right.
So I'm Gen Z. So, my prospects of saving to retirement in this like American dream style, that's out the window. So I'm trying to leverage my extensive pop culture knowledge in order to get to generational wealth. I'm going to win $200.
She's going to win $200.
if they get engaged.
It's only 50%?
Yeah, I bet like 44 cents. Like it was like 44 cent, yes.
That seems low.
I mean,
that they're gonna get engaged. That 44%. Like
yeah, the market's undervaluing it.
Market's undervaluing.
Like, what do you guys? Yeah, agreed. Yeah. That's why it was an obvious buy.
Anything else? Any markets you're thinking about?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna start betting on. Well, award season is kind of in full swing right now. Problem with awards is like, I think the Academy is bullshit.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Electoral College. It's like, who are the electors?
Yeah. Who are the electors? Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's kind of what the Oscars
faithless
are
electors.
Like. Yeah, that's what the Academy's like. So it's like, and like, I don't have any opinions about like the Oscars, for example, that are against the norm. Like, for example, like Timothée Chalamet is currently at like 77% yes to win.
Which is like,
that's what I think so too. Yeah. I would never bet against that.
Yeah,
either.
you've got to be contrarian.
Yeah, there's nothing contrarian that I believe about like the Oscars, but I will probably just like do it just to have fun and just to give myself a little skin in the game when I'm watching, just to be like
little foreskin in the game.
Yeah, like dinner's on me tonight. Timmy wins the Oscar, you know? I actually do think prediction markets are the next like meta, you know, like we had like stable coins, Bitcoin treasury companies, AI.
I don't even think that they're the next meta. I think that they're the current meta.
They're the current meta, yeah.
Prediction markets and sports betting.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's deeply confusing how all this stuff is like suddenly kind of legal, you know? Like it was illegal for a long time. Like sports betting was illegal for a long time. And now it's just like, okay, yeah, do whatever you fucking want. Who fucking cares? Yeah, whatever.
I mean, this is kind of Michael Saylor's thing in defending all of the Bitcoin treasury companies. Is It's like, it's us against the regulators, basically.
Yep.
You know? So, I mean, I think, again, it's like in a world where you have uncertain financial outcomes, more people are going to be trying to get the lottery ticket. And so it makes sense that like more people would be wanting to gamble.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what meme coins and crypto are.
Yeah, but they kind of squeezed all the juice out of that lemon.
And it's also not a proxy. It's not direct enough.
It's also not as entertaining as betting on, you know, whether or not Timothy Chalamet is going to get married to so-and-so, right? That's like interesting.
I don't even know it's Kylie.
Betting on like poop coin or whatever, or like fart coin, or like what is, you know, the AI coin going to do? It's kind of boring.
Well, the sad thing too about that is it never really goes to zero. Like a prediction market ends when it ends. You know, it's like you either win the Oscar or you don't. And then once the Oscars happen, you either collect your wins or you like say goodbye to your losses. With a meme coin, it's like if you put in 20K into fart coin and now that's down to like $1,000, like, are you selling that?
Yeah, you selling?
You know,
you
like
selling, bro?
What if
Maybe
it moves,
go
bro?
Yeah.
Like what if Trump mentions fart coin and is that like, it's just, it kind of has this like drag, like meme coins have this like dragging effect where it's like, you're never like cleaning your hands.
And getting on to the next thing.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. It's like, it's not cycling through winners and losers fast enough.
Yeah, that'd be great if all the long tail meme coins could just go to zero. You know, just kind of finally like.
Yeah, just like, let's shut it down, guys. Just
shut it down.
Yeah. It's like, I think prediction markets, it makes it's faster turnover. It's more direct.
It gets them onto the next thing.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, meme coins are just proxies also for the same things that prediction markets are doing, which is like, oh, well, I think, you know, Trump's going to win the election. And so any meme coin that's affiliated with the Trump name, I think is going to get attention and go up. Okay, well, why don't you just bet that Trump's going to win?
Right.
You know, so it's like you're getting like closer to the meat of the thing.
Yep.
And then like in terms of like a marketing VC play, it's like, we'll just take a cut on everyone betting, you know? I kind of think like, okay, we had Polymarket and now Kalshi seems to be the thing. I think like Kalshi's, I mean, I fully KYC'd so that I could bet on Timothy Chalamet and Kylie Jenner, but I kind of think Kalshi might be feds. Because it's like, why did that, like Polymarket had such dominance over that market?
I think Polymarket is sort of trying to do this decentralized thing. And so
that's what I'm saying, yeah.
There's like friction. It's like not super easy to use. So.
But how did, like, you would think, and I don't know, but like you would think Polymarket would be trying to get regulation such that like I think on Polymarket, no, you might not be able to use Polymarket in the US. I think you need a VPN.
Yeah.
But I was going to say like Kalshi, I literally could just do Google Pay. I did Google Pay and like bought in and it was instant, right?
Yeah.
Like I think, and to do that, I had to like fully dox myself, right? Like, so it's like I had to cheek dox. So I feel like, I don't know. It's like if you are more concerned about like surveillance and knowing where the money's flowing than necessarily like actually controlling people's monetary decisions and that like preventing them from gambling or whatever, then it's like, yeah, why not have like a Fed company come in and be like, yeah, you thought you were using Polymarket? No, you're all using Kalshi now. Kalshi's the new thing, you know? So I kind of wonder if they're feds, but I'm still using it and I still KYC'd for that $100 return. I don't know. I'm looking through the rest of my notes. Oh, Saylor also said, quote, I'm a conservative when it comes to the protocol. I don't like big protocol.
Don't like big
which
protocol.
I thought was a beautiful line
Yep.
on his part. He was.
I don't think Michael Saylor understands how Bitcoin works on any level whatsoever.
But that's why I think
I do like this quote. If you want a company to fail, fund all their ideas.
Yeah.
Like that's probably
but
true.
That was what he was saying about Bitcoin Core. He was like, all these people, they have all their BIPs. And if you look at the BIP library, I mean, it's like, you want to fail Bitcoin, fund all the BIPs.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think he does kind of view Bitcoin Core as like the SEC or something. Like he's viewing it as like it's him against the regulators yet again, you know, where it's like he thinks Bitcoin Core is like a government institution that's going to like slap him on the wrist for bad behavior. And it's like bunch of nerds.
Yeah, bunch of nerds.
Bunch of nerds. What else? Oh, if your time horizon is less than 10 years, you're not an investor, you're a speculator.
Okay, I don't
That's
really
true.
think that there's a difference between an investor or a speculator or
Well,
a
it's
trader.
a
I
little
don't
more
think these are well.
pejorative. It's a little more
It's pejorative.
pejorative.
That's right. Yeah. He's saying if your time horizon is less than 10 years, you're a little bitch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think it's kind of coming from the perspective of if you think investors have a valuable role to play in the building of something in society. Like, oh, you want to build infrastructure or you want to build a like industry of some kind. You need investors to sort of like back that and support that for you to do that. But that might take decades for it to happen. That like if you view investors as this like crucial role, then like that's more of like a you would say, well, I'm an investor, and people would be like, wow, that's so great. Whereas if you're a speculator, it's like, well, I'm trying to make a quick buck before the world ends,
Right.
so that like my family doesn't fall into generational poverty.
Generational poverty.
You know,
What is generational poverty? Because really, like, you know, generational wealth is like, well, you've got a lot of wealth. You can sustain yourself. You know, you can pass on that wealth through generations. That's generational wealth. But even if you're in a lot of debt, you know, that debt doesn't get inherited by your kids. They
well,
just
if you're a slave, your kids are slaves.
Yeah, but we don't have slaves anymore in America.
I think we kind of have this like debt slavery system.
But as stated, that doesn't pass on to your kids. So, like, what is intergenerational poverty?
Well,
you're
it's
just
like
so down bad that like it gets into your kids. No, I know it is. Generational poverty is transmitted epigenetically.
Yeah.
So when you're really poor, you get epigenetic markers in your germline DNA, which is then passed down to your kids, and they're going to be fucking losers like you. All right.
Generational poverty is like a mindset. It's a mind virus.
That's right.
It's like if you die in student debt and then you encourage your kid to take on student debt, it's like that's generational poverty.
Yeah, being in student debt, encouraging your kid to take on student debt.
Take on student debt so they can get a worthless degree. That's generational poverty.
Yep.
Which is kind of the situation we're in. I mean, you could also like, there was actually a question that was sent to us, which was like, something along the lines of like, if we're headed into techno-feudalism, how does blockchain break or support that?
I don't even really believe in techno-feudalism. I don't really think it's a thing.
I do.
What is techno-feudalism?
I mean, if I just think about what feudalism is, it's like you have a couple landholders or like property owners, and then everyone else is just kind of like the tenants who like work the land and pay the rent, and like no one owns anything except for the feudal overlords, right? Like that's feudalism.
Yeah.
So techno-feudalism is just like the digital version of that, where it's like, you know, you might own Facebook or X or whatever, and everything happens on those platforms. And so you're essentially just like the land worker.
Yeah, but you can leave those platforms at any time. There's competition between those platforms. They don't own you. You don't have any obligation to them.
Isn't that the same as feudalism?
No, in feudalism, like, I mean, the lord owns the land, and you're not even like a renter. You have the ability. You are allowed to live on the land as long as you like farm it and give some of your output to the lord.
Right, but you could leave.
I actually don't think you can. That's the thing. Is you couldn't leave.
Isn't that a slave?
No, because if you were a tenant or whatever, you're a feudal guy.
A serf?
A serf. Yeah. Well, I don't think that you could just leave. I don't think you could just leave.
Why though?
I think that was like the rules, you know? There were two classes of peasants under fiefdom: free peasants, variously called freemen, villeins, or tenants at will, could legally move, but that movement might be constrained in practice. They might have obligations, they might require notice, payment, or surrender of land, etc. Serfs were legally bound to the land. The serfs were not owned as chattel slaves, but they were tied to a specific estate and they could not leave without permission. So, seems like it depended.
I guess my example of techno-feudalism would be like, for example, Tesla just announced that their self-driving capability, like the tech that goes into the Tesla car, it used to be that you could pay either on a monthly subscription basis or you could just buy it outright with the car. And they just ended the buying outright option. So now you have to pay a $99 a month monthly subscription in order to have the Tesla self-driving features in the Tesla. And like,
or you could not own a Tesla.
Sure, but it's like I think I'm not saying it's like forced feudalism. I'm saying like practically the way that things are playing out is it's like, well, if all of the technology if we're moving in a technologically advanced direction and all of the technology is built such that you're a tenant of it, you're a subscriber to it rather than an owner of it intrinsically, then essentially you're a serf.
I don't think so, because I think that there's much technology that you can own. And you can always opt out and use a competitor. So I don't really think
Well, that's, I guess, the point with the blockchain aspect is it's like, okay, if you have certain technology that's built in more of like a you own your own shit way, then yes, that is fighting against like the general trend towards techno-feudalism.
Yeah, but I mean, like, look, like this recorder. We own this recorder. We don't pay anybody a subscription.
Mm-hmm.
We had cameras and microphones that we don't pay anybody a subscription for.
Yeah.
This is technology. We own it. No, we're not techno-feudalism. It's just one of those things that, like, when people say, oh, like, it's techno-feudalism that Mark Zuckerberg owns fucking Facebook and, like, I'm posting, like, a sharecropper or something. It's just like, yeah, it's kind of true in, like, a...
seasonal click farmer.
Yeah, and, like, a seasonal click farmer. Yeah. It's true in a figurative sense, but, like, are we in any way meaningfully living in techno-feudalism because Tesla charges a subscription for the self-driving car feature? Like, no, like, buy another car.
Well, I guess it's the way I would say it's like similar to the generational poverty point. It's like there is a default mode that's pushed on you as a consumer of tech products, which is to act as a serf.
I think it's optional, and you don't
it is
have
optional.
to, and you don't have to do it.
I don't disagree with you.
And that's not. Well, I mean, like, you know, it's just it's an argument of degree. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, is it techno-feudalism, or is it like techno-feudalism would be? It's like, yeah, I guess it sucks that their subscription services. Does this define the mode of society?
I guess the way I would put it is like that being a sovereign individual is something that you have to take personal responsibility for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like sovereign individuality is not going to be handed to you. It's something that maybe you could be born into it. You know, if you're born into generational wealth mindset, mind programming, like then, yeah, you know, if you're set up in a certain way, like because your parents are like impressing certain values upon you, or you are in a community of people that have those sort of values of like personal responsibility, self-sovereignty, etc. I agree with you. I have a more optimistic view of the future, which is like it's a self opt-in. Like you can't, as long as, and this is the same way that I feel about self-custody or Bitcoin privacy or like whatever, is it's like most people aren't going to care about self-custody or privacy or all of these things that maybe are ideals that each of us would aspire to have. So most people aren't going to care. Most people are going to be totally fine being KYC'd, being controlled, being essentially slaves or serfs or whatever. As long as you have the option to set up your life such that you're not that way, that's the important aspect. So I guess it's like, I look at something like Bitcoin as like a very useful tool against like that overarching bend towards subscription slavery or whatever you want to call it. And so it's like, yeah, if we didn't have Bitcoin, I would be a lot more pessimistic about the future. Right. But I don't think everyone, even if there was perfect privacy tools, perfect self-custody, like whatever, I still don't think the majority of people would adopt it. Right.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're cattle.
Yeah. But that's like kind of my sort of, I guess, take on the situation is like, I think what you're arguing against is like this doomerist perspective of like, oh, we're all headed towards like being grist for the mill and there's no way out. And it's like, well, there actually are
just
ways out.
Unsubscribe from Photoshop.
Just, bro, cyberbullying's not real. Just close your eyes.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Basically that.
Yeah. Like I agree with you. I think like, it's just that I think that a lot of people who are into this kind of stuff, like sovereignty and privacy and all these like Bitcoin ideals, they want to see a world where everyone shares their values, and that's not going to happen. It's like
definitely not.
Like,
definitely not.
As long as you have the option to do that, as long as you can live your life that way, you have the freedom of choice. That to me is like, yeah, there is no serfdom, there is no feudalism. It's just like, it's just your mindset, bro.
Yeah, there is no unethical consumption under capitalism.
There's no unethical. That's now your take.
There's no unethical consumption under capitalism.
Yeah, I mean, but that's also like...
Let us know in the comments on a degree of 0 to 10 how techno-feudalist society is. Just the number.
What's your number? What's your number?
3.
3.
Yeah.
What's 5? Like, what's 0? What's 5? What's 10?
Zero is
perfect like everyone's a sovereign
You can't
individual.
even get a Photoshop subscription. They won't.
Oh,
let
zero
you.
is the lowest.
Zero
I thought
is-
10 was like the ultimate techno-feudalism.
Yeah, 10 is the most techno-feudalism.
Yeah.
So zero is you can't subscribe to Photoshop. They only will sell it to
They
you.
will only sell it to you and
as
you
a single lump sum payment.
Yeah, and it's an open source software that exists on your device.
That's right.
Like,
yeah. And 10 is you have to rent. You have to pay. You have to rent your own genitals when you want to masturbate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to pay someone.
That's right. Yeah.
Pay a subscription fee.
Yeah.
Do you think we're at 3?
Yeah, 3.
Do you think I guess not techno-feudalism, but more just like general feudalism, like before, like, do you think things have gotten better or worse on that axis over the last like 10 years?
It's complicated because a lot of the things that exist that are, unfortunate that you like don't control them, like, okay, like apps that used to be like technology that used to be not available for subscription. A lot of it used to not exist, right? We have a lot of more technology, and so, dude, I don't know. It's getting worse. 0.5 a year, 0.1 a year.
I think it's that like the conveniences and benefits that are afforded to you as a result of technology also often come with the trade-off of like buying into a techno-feudalism model.
Very much so.
So,
but it's almost always a voluntary exchange.
You do it because you want access to that thing.
Although, like sometimes it's not voluntary, like when in order to use certain government services, etc., you're
like you can imagine a situation where in order to get on a plane you need XYZ biometric scanning, so now you can't travel by anything but car, right? Like I think that's more where I think that is happening. Like I think we are moving more in that direction. I would call it more like surveillance than like techno-feudalism. Like I do think we are headed in that direction. And at the same time, I think there's like more potential to be like a sovereign individual now than there was 10 years ago. Like in certain axes, it's like just kind of depends how you're living your life, how you're organizing your digital existence.
Yeah.
But it all comes down to personal responsibility, which most people don't want to take.
No.
But us.
But us and our viewers and listeners.
So, don't blame other people for your problems.
Blame yourself.
Blame yourself. Like, that's literally what Michael Saylor said.
That's what Michael Saylor said.
He's like, you're the one who bought the stock. I'm not buying stock.
You're the one who bought the stock. That's what I want to hear the CEO of the company that I'm investing in say. I want them to be like,
why'd you buy the stock,
Why'd you buy the
idiot?
stock, bro? You fucking retard. Bro, are you gay? Are you gay for the stock?
Like, that's kind of the 2025 review.
Yeah. All right, on that note.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you have any other thoughts on 2025?
No, that's not it.
That's not it?
No, sorry, that's it.
That's not it.
That's all I got.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's hope the investors latch onto the economy titty soon. Hard.
Or not.
Or not.
I don't care. They didn't really come through on number go up. That was the one thing I cared about them delivering on, and they didn't.
Let's have them latch on to the Bitcoin titty. Let's have the investors latch securely onto the Bitcoin titty.
Let's have the boomers. And then,
for the record, Aaron, for our listeners, Aaron was making the thumb across the neck.
No, I was miming them thriving, aging gracefully.
Yeah, aging gracefully.
It's just, I don't know. Their kids will inherit a fraction of their wealth. Large fraction will go to big pharma. Large fraction will go to the government through inheritance taxes, and then some fraction will go to their millennial children.
Good for them.
And the millennial children will find themselves all of a sudden with assets. They'll pay off their student debt. So, right, like the debtors take a percentage. Whatever percentage is left, let's hope that a small percentage of that is allocated to Bitcoin.
That's right, yeah.
And for the rest of us, like, whatever. I don't know. It's your life, bro.
Yeah, whatever.
Figure out how you want to live it.
Yeah.
That's all.
All right. Thanks, everybody. And hope it's a great 2026.
717-69-GMHMP.
GMHMP. That's
call
good.
in.
That's 717-69-GMHMP. Yep.
Call in. You can ask us, investment. But you can ask us about
you want. You can shill your bullshit.
You can ask us to define techno-feudalism. We'll make it up.
We'll make it up
on the spot.
Yeah.
And we love you guys. Good luck.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.